The ultimate aim of a Muslim is not perfection in this dunya. It's being able to look the Prophet Muhammad in the face on the day of judgment when you enter Jannah and say, Ya Rasulullah, I didn't have the powers I wish I had, but I still kept going. And this is the scenario I imagine. I hope one day, inshallah, that the ultimate outcome for every Muslim is that when we're lying on our deathbeds and the soul leaves our body, and it may well be that we die in the middle of another genocide, seeing another genocide unfold. We die through tears that we weren't able to stop it or weren't able to do anything else. We may die and say, Ya Rab, I'm leaving a world that is even more horrific and disgusting than the one I left it. And you weep, even though through your life you kept striving, mobilizing, shouting, tweeting, charities, you going up around the country trying to mobilize. You're saying 50 different things and people won't listen to you, or they're like, Ya Allah, I tried like Nuh, da'awtu qawmi layla wa nahara wa lam yazidhum du'ai illa firara. You lie on your deathbed and you think, Ya Allah, I didn't achieve anything. When your soul leaves your body, at least Muhammad Jalal, you won't hear, Ya ayyatuha nafsul khabitha. You won't hear, oh disgusting soul, soul that did nothing, soul that sat at home, soul that told people there's no point, soul that said the system was rigged, soul that said, oh what you're doing, there's no point in doing that, or soul that, you will hear instead, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna. Oh beautiful sweet smelling soul. Oh lovely soul that kept striving even when the odds were against you. That kept speaking even when the world was against you. That kept making effort after effort even when you never saw its fruits. That kept going and telling people to keep going even though you felt that you wouldn't see the outcome in your lifetime. That you kept going even through the despair, even through the heartbreak, even when you felt that it was futile. You kept going, you kept mobilizing only because you believed that Allah was in charge of the outcome and victory was eventually coming, and that alone was worth mobilizing and worth moving. The angels will say, guys, there is a sweet, I don't know if they say guys, but the angels will say there is a sweet smelling soul that is coming up. This is a soul that kept striving, that kept mobilizing even though they never saw the outcome. So let me tell you, ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. Allah is pleased with you. As you're going up, Allah is pleased with you. فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. And this is the scenario, and I promise this is where I finish. I promise. You know, for me, the most beautiful scenario I can imagine, in my opinion, and it might not be a beautiful scenario for other people, but this is what I imagine. It may well be we might not see Quds liberated in our lifetime. Prophet ﷺ never saw it liberated in his lifetime. Let's be honest. When he died, he was in charge of Mecca, Medina, some parts of Yemen and some parts of the Arabian Peninsula. When he died, he was asked by the angels, do you want to stay in this dunya and see the fruits of your labor, or do you want to go back to Jannah? Note how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not choose to stay in the dunya, he chose to go back. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ knew the outcome belonged to Allah. He was fine. He said, Allah will sort that out. I'm ready to go back to Jannah. Such was the level of trust in Allah's outcome. The Prophet ﷺ never saw Islam in London. He never saw the Thinking Muslim podcast. He never saw Islam in LA or in Dallas al-Sharif or in or in Argentina. But he didn't need to, because he was the vehicle. That was the honor. And this is the scenario I imagine. And this is where I finish. I wanted to finish on this point.
Please.
I imagine one day, if Allah accepts our efforts, inshallah, and if Allah, rewards us with it, and it's something that we pray for, and I hope one day, even if we're not deserving of it, Allah in His mercy will give it to us, which is Jannat al-Firdaus. I imagine one day, Muhammad Jalal, me and you, and the other people in this room, we're sitting in the gathering of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and we arrive. This is what I imagine. I imagine we arrive and we walk, and we say, Assalamu alaikum, and they say, Wa alaikum assalam, and Salah ad-Din Ayyubi is just finishing his story, telling Umar ibn Khattab how he liberated Al-Aqsa. And I always imagine maybe a conversation between Umar Khattab saying, but when you entered, Ya Salah ad-Din, did you uphold the rights of the Jews and the Christians? Did you do to them what they did to us, or did you uphold the Islamic way? We know they are anti-Semites. We know they persecute the Jews, but Muslims don't. What did you do with the Jews after you entered Jerusalem? Salah ad-Din would say, we brought them back and gave them sanctity and comfort. Because every time anti-Semitic Europe would persecute them, whether in Spain or in Poland or after the Holocaust, they always came to the Muslim lands. Umar Khattab would say, Ahsant. And then we sit down, we say, Salam alaikum ya Rasulullah, and we sit down with the Sahaba, and they will say, which generation are you from? And we might say, we're from a generation that didn't achieve much materially, but we did the best that we could. And then another man will come afterwards and he'll sit, or a sister, and they will come and sit. They'll say, Salam alaikum salam. Which generation are you from? We're from the generation that liberated Al-Aqsa after his generation there. And we will be excited, excited, but envious in a good way. We wish we'd been that generation, but tell us how it was done. Do you know what I want to hear? I hope that I hear one day. I hope that the person turns around to me and you, Jen, and he says, when I was a kid, I heard the Thinking Muslim podcast. And I saw the efforts of those who came before us. those who liberated the Muslim world from colonization in the 1950s and 1960s, paved the way for our semi-independence. The Arab Spring that showed us that authoritarian regimes are not invincible. And then those Muslims who emerged and said you could be Muslim and you could preserve your deen and you could succeed in life. And that they changed public opinion. They broke Israel's monopoly over the narrative, which allowed us to speak more freely. We were able to call it an apartheid regime. Then we were able to take opportunities. And I hope one day that he says to Rasulullah, and he says to him, Ya Rasulullah, but for these people we wouldn't have liberated Al-Aqsa, though perhaps they didn't achieve it in their lifetimes. Ya Rasulullah, they are the ones deserving of the credit. That's the scenario I imagine, inshallah. That's the scenario that I hope, even if I don't achieve Aqsa. But what I do know is we have to keep moving. And that's why if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But I promise you, Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu, Blinken buckled because of public opinion when the Ummah roared and raised the voices of the Palestinians. Netanyahu buckled, Bin Salman buckled, Bin Zayed buckled, Erdogan buckled. All of these people, they buckled, not because they wanted to do anything for Gaza, but because public opinion forced them to adopt positions that they did not want to adopt. When a Muslim tells me that they feel tired, I can't understand it, because how can you see Blinken go from no ceasefire to sustainable ceasefire? How can you see that shift that's taking place and know it's because of you and feel fatigued? Instead, we are winning the battle after battle after battle. It's hard, it's turbulent, but we have to keep going. And now we have the chance, even in these elections, to make an impact, and even the next 4 or 5 years to plug those gaps in the industries where we found ourselves exposed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who knows the outcome. All I know is there's a battle in front of us. Let's fight this battle, then deal with the outcomes afterwards. And may Allah give us every success in this battle.